plumbing business and sold that. And, I mean, I think that being in the military provides you with the courage to be an entrepreneur. I don't
Absolutely.
think that the military prepares you to be a good entrepreneur.
No, we know that for a
I think
fact.
it just gives you the courage to say, let's do this. And, I think it also, I don't know about the other branches of service, but guys that get out of the Marines tend to have a problem with authority because you have so much authority, kind of forced on you at all times while you're in
Right.
there. So you're just like, hey, look, I've been listening to people for 4 years. I ain't listening to nobody. So I have owned a plumbing company. I have owned a lobbying firm after I got out of the University of Arizona. After I graduated U of A, I got a job as a legislative analyst at the Arizona State Senate. And then we decided to move to Colorado. I got another job as legislative analyst at the Colorado General Assembly. And that opened up an opportunity for me to become a lobbyist for the state chamber of commerce here called the Colorado Association of Commerce and Industry. And I mean, I spent probably 6 years as a plumber, 10 years as a um, legislative analyst and lobbyist. And back in 2011, I had an opportunity to represent a cannabis company on an issue as their lobbyist and had great success. And they offered me ownership, which turned out to be the very first licensed cannabis company in the world.
Wow.
One of the brands was Edipure, and another brand was Cannapunch. Folks from Colorado are pretty familiar with both of those names, although Edipure, I think, closed in 2015 or just changed their focus. I don't know. I left in 14 and started Americana, which then became Can America because we wanted to trademark it. And Americana was too much of a common term at that time. So
Gotcha.
in 2018, we had some issues with our facility where our local government, we were zoned by the county and licensed locally by the county, and the city of Boulder decided to annex the property I was on. So we went from one municipality to the other without moving, and I went from a reasonable set of guidelines and rules in the cannabis industry, let's call it 40 pages, to over 1,000 pages in the city of Boulder. And they came in making demands of me changing this and changing that. I literally had a 3,000 square foot packaging space that they wanted me to line the walls with steel
Oh my
because,
gosh.
yeah, because they had a requirement in the city of Boulder that all your products be locked in a safe. Well, I had literally 300,000 units of our gummy products at any given time in our facility because we were actively selling about 75,000 units a month. And so, part of our business success is that we were able to fill orders within 24 hours because we just have this amazing system that creates a situation. So these guys walked in, they'd never seen so much cannabis packaged in one room, and they literally handed me the DEA guidelines
Wow.
for, securing Schedule One drugs. And I think that room, to line that room with steel and put a safe door on it, which employees would have worked in. And I kept asking the fire marshal if this was something that he'd ever contemplated, that you'd put employees inside
Right,
a,
right.
a safe room like that. And he said no, but it was almost $3.5 million for that.
Holy cow.
So we changed our business model, and I went ahead and sold those licenses and created our technique as intellectual property and registered it through another company. And that's the company that we took public in October of 2018 because it was an intellectual property company. We didn't handle the plant at that time, and it made it easy for us to go public in Canada. So
Dan, that's a huge undertaking too. And first, congratulations on you going back and getting that high school diploma. That's huge, bro. To do that after you've served your country, that's huge. And then the second part of that is, man, you kicked butt and graduated from the University of Arizona. That's a huge deal, you know.
thanks.
And it's all led to the culmination of what you've done by going public on the Canadian market. Dan, I can't even imagine what that process was like. We got about 5 minutes left in this first segment now,
You're
but can you
kidding.
just tell us? Yeah, that's right. We got the second segment too. That's what's good about it. Can you tell us what that was like? What was the timing and preparation to get listed on the Canadian exchange? How many years did that take?
Well, it took almost a year, and I really don't recommend it for people who aren't already, extremely well capitalized and have opportunities for mergers and acquisitions. I mean, the point of going public is for, having ability to make pieces of your company available to investors on a much larger scale so that you can raise money. But what I quickly learned is publicly traded companies are constantly focused on building larger opportunities for M&As, mergers and acquisitions. And
Right.
I'm more of an operational kind of person and a product kind of person, and so is the company. And I think because we have historically, since we've been public, not operated the licensed facility, that we license our IP and branding and techniques and supply chain to the operators, that for a royalty, that the top end revenue of that model is not the same as the top end revenue of a dispensary
Right.
or another manufacturer, because we're only taking less than 25% in the sale of those products. So it's created an investor confusion of who we are, what we do, and how successful we are, right?
Okay.
But we have presence, we have products on, the shelves in 3 markets, and constantly doing more things. I just opened up a hemp company, and we're going to be launching hemp products, gummies, beverages, topicals, and more here at the beginning of February. So I'm very hopeful that all of these efforts will start to make sense to shareholders. But I think the process to become a publicly traded company was nowhere near as difficult as the process to create the regulations in the state of Colorado at the beginning.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't know
And that was
anything about it. Yeah, I had people guiding me as we went public, right? Bankers and other folks, where this is all they do, and they set up publicly traded companies and do it all. I mean, it cost a lot of money. But creating the rules and regs, I mean, I sat on probably 30 different rulemaking groups. I probably drafted well over 50 pieces of legislation that passed. I probably killed double that, of trying to harm the industry. And every time the industry thought we knew what direction we would go, the state of Colorado would want to change it a little bit,
right.
drastically change it. And so that was more work than creating products and more work than going public. And we did all the groundwork so that states like Washington and California and Oklahoma and Arizona and Nevada and Michigan and more could, use that as a framework. But those of us in Colorado we were all making it up on both sides, the
Right.
legislators, the
Right.
regulators, the industry. So that was more work than I expected.
I can't even imagine. We're closing here on segment one with CEO and founder of Can America Brands, Dan Anglin. And Dan, I think what we'll do on segment two is talk about how to get involved. How do we do this? How do we affect that positive policy change that you were just alluding to, and what that work is that you put in on that. It was really exciting to me personally to hear that, it's easier to list in the Canadian Stock Exchange than it was to write policy here in the United States. That's crazy, but I think that's really eye opening for our listeners around the world too. So,
I
because there's a
guess
lot
it's
of
all
them,
your perspective on how
right?
hard something is, right?
Absolutely, and there are a lot of people that listen to this that are in different countries that are thinking, "How do I get involved and do this in my country?" Well, that's what we'll go into in segment two here on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. So stay tuned. Join us on segment two with Dan Anglin, CEO of Can America Brands, and we'll see you soon.
Line over there. Send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there, over there.